Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman, and thanks for joining me for another weekly YouTube question and answer time. If you're new to my channel, I will just say welcome, and feel free to visit my website, which is themodernshaman.net. You can find out anything there that has to do with what I'm about, how to get connected with me if you'd like a session in terms of healing or in terms of psychic or shamanic work, as well as any of my classes that I teach and touring schedule. So that's all online and at the website at themodernshaman.net. Okay, so here's the question for today. It says, Dearest Rachel, I have tinnitus, which makes my anxiety worse. What is your take on this? Thank you so much. Okay. So the ringing in the ears, if you're not familiar with this, and I'm trying really hard, you guys. This is my tendency to look at the camera, but the camera is actually this little hole over here. So I'm really trying to make myself. Somebody called me on it online. They were like, "Please look at the camera," and I'm like, "Dang it, I have to remember to do that." So I'm trying really hard to look over here, even though to me it looks like I'm looking sideways. To you, I realize it makes it look like I'm looking at the camera. This is why people have producers or people behind the scenes going, all right, and cut, and look here, and action. I'm not used to that. So anyway, I'm working on it, just so you know. So back to tinnitus. This is a biggie with a lot of us that are starting to kind of upgrade vibrationally, okay? Because here's the deal. Everything is energy. As you all know, we live in an energetic world. We are energetic beings. This is part of our creation. I'm gonna put this down. And that being said, all of that energy that vibrates is creating frequency, right? Frequency is the measurement of those vibrations of energy. When you are on this spiritual journey and you are up-leveling in terms of your vibration, most of that will also be translated in terms of the frequency, okay? Meaning your ears are the translator or the processor of frequencies constantly. They are going through a sense of processing. Everything that's going on in terms of pressure, in terms of sound, all of it is translated through the ears predominantly. So it's very, very common on your spiritual journey to have issues or have frequencies or have a sense of interference and notice it within your ears. This was a biggie for me, and I did when I was younger and going through part of my kind of realignment with my psychic gifts and my clairaudience, which again, this is where we translate a lot of inaudible sound waves. So we have an audible spectrum, right? Which I believe, and don't quote me on this, you can look it up, I'm sure, but I believe it's around 20 hertz to around 20,000 hertz. I think that's our audible range, but we have an inaudible range, okay? Which includes all of our telepathic communication, which includes a lot of our clairaudient activations, okay? They are energetic frequencies. They are waves of energy, and they are also translated as sound waves, translated through plasma, liquid, gases. You can have translation of energy and sound waves in various ways. So the energies will translate differently depending on what they're transmitted through. But as you are getting information in this inaudible range, your ears are still very active in that translation of energy, okay? They may not be translating the sound frequency because it's an inaudible range, but they are translating the vibration and the frequency of it still, okay? And of the sound wave, okay? It's still a sound wave, it's just in an inaudible range. And so it's still being translated through your ears. So it's sometimes when there's interference or there's a big gap in frequency of what's coming in, and what your native range is, meaning when you up level vibrationally, or maybe you activate your clairaudience, or you say to the spiritual realm, I'm ready to connect and I want to be a medium, or I want to connect with my ancestors, or I want to have a sense of broader spiritual connection. When you are seeking, you shall find. And oftentimes that translation affects your ears, okay? And like I started telling earlier, when I was younger and was going through this process of activating my psychic gifts and bringing them back, because I had blocked them for a while, if you know my story, and when I started bringing them back, they would come in big chunks, okay, of energy. Now, depending on the messages that I was receiving, because I was receiving so much clairaudient information, it was hard for my ears to translate that. And there was this sense of tug of war going on within the inner ear for this processing, okay? And to me, it felt like a deep inner pressurized compression sound wave, okay? And it would appear to me in my clairvoyance very longitudinal in terms of a sound wave, and deeply compressed. And so the energy would feel like my ears were constantly in an airplane, okay, or needed to pop, or there was an inner pressure. Sometimes that would be ringing, but it was trying to translate large blocks of energy through still my ear canals, and they couldn't really handle the pressure of that information. And so I ended up having an inner ear stroke. So it can be very physical. And you shared like the tinnitus, the ringing in the ears, and we'll go to the doctor and we'll be like, what the heck is going on? And they may kind of judge it in certain ways or give you certain things that are helpful. But in other ways, it doesn't really work, you know, in terms of traditional medicine, or it just seems like it keeps coming up. I will share with you at the end of this video some of my like tried and true things when I'm getting a lot of up-leveling through the ears, okay? I will also say when your clairaudience is activated, sometimes if on the other side spirit knows that you have a clear connection or path through your clairaudience, then they will utilize that way of connecting. So spirit will use the most effective, efficient way to get your attention and communicate with you. If they know that your clairaudience is turned on, then they will utilize your ears as a form of connection. So some people and clients, or those that I have taught and guided through their own psychic connections, will have ringing in the ears as a sort of reminder for certain past loved ones, angels, you know, any ancestors or those that they're trying to connect with on the other side, guides. And I used to get this as well, that I would notice that certain guides, when they were speaking, it would almost ring a really high pitch on one top part of an ear, and another person, another guide that I would connect with would almost like be a deeper, thicker sound wave at the bottom of the ear. And it just takes practice to notice what's coming in. And I would literally at the beginning sit down with a piece of paper and say, okay, I'm getting this ringing in the ear. What is this connected to? And I would tune into it. So I'd feel into any sort of connection. Am I suddenly thinking of my grandmother when this pitch comes in? And open up to any sort of communication that may be coming through. Again, you can set your psychic boundaries. And if you haven't watched my psychic boundary video, you can watch that about setting boundaries for spirit, knowing who you want to invite in when you're talking to the other side and opening up to your mediumship gifts. But oftentimes the ringing in the ears is a sense of connection or getting your attention to open up to that channel, okay? And if you notice there may be differences in varying pitches or where the sound wave is hitting your ear canal, you can hone that. Also, certain collective energies, like I shared earlier about myself as a teenager, I would be getting large collective energies. So collective energies, when they communicate via, it's not just one entity on the other side, it's a collective, compactive energy that is all kind of coinciding together via law of attraction of frequency. And they communicate as one message, but the energy is like spherical. It comes in very compacted. So these are energies like large channels, like Abraham Hicks is a collective entity. Cryon is a collective energy. So these energies come in a lot more dense in terms of the way that you translate it through the sound frequency. And also high vibrational beings, when they're communicating with you, if you pay attention to your ears in that clairaudient communication, it will be responding differently to those frequencies. Now, those frequencies are not just translated through the ears. It's our most common translation in a human form. But we also, a lot of you that are highly clairsentient, meaning you feel energies more than you're clairaudient, if that's the more dominant psychic sense, then you may feel the energy more and translate it all the way through the body. Your heart chakra, you may feel more palpitations or feel more response to the energy. If the wave is more compacted, you almost feel dense, like your body is really like being squished in a vice, versus very active and hyper, almost as if the molecules in what's communicating to you are just popping around, jumping around. So we translate it differently with non-physical, inaudible energy, depending on the dominant psychic sense. But this is a common way, if you're getting tinnitus, to tune into what's wanting to communicate. There's also just when you are up-leveling vibrationally, okay? A sense of having to find a new equilibrium within the inner ear, meaning your personal frequency, your core vibration. And this is measurable. These are the spin of your chakras, okay? If they're starting to spin and align and you've been doing some personal work and you're clearing, so you're getting all that gunk out, they're going to start to spin faster and create a higher electromagnetic frequency around you, which is your aura, which creates a larger auric field. When this happens, your frequency, your base vibrational energy will be up leveling in a measurable frequency, okay? And so it will be differing. And so when you have times like that where you go through major spiritual epiphany, major spiritual clearing, a lot of times that has to also find its sense of equilibrium within the ears, okay? And because if you're sensitive and you're noticing it within the ears, you'll feel like they're off, or like you'll feel like you gotta pop them, or like you'll get the ringing. Sometimes it's buzzing, sometimes it's almost like a whooshing wind sound that sometimes people get. Mine just feels super sensitive. Also, there's a collective energy that a lot of people are aware of and helping transmute and process for collectives. If you're doing this, then your body is receptive to collective energies. Don't you love this? It just goes on and on and on. So when those collective purgings, those collective clearings, those collective earth chakras, and the Schumann resonance of the earth, her own electromagnetic field, when it's upping in vibrational frequency, and again, this is measurable. You can literally go online and chart the Schumann resonance. It is measured from space, from a satellite in space, and you can see when it's up leveling. And a lot of times people will get highly charged energy in their own ears during that calibration of energy when it moves up. So if you're connected to the collective energy and you're helping process and transmute energy on that level as well, then you will also get kind of the sensation within the ears that has to be equalized, okay, and harmonized, so to speak, within the frequency of your own body. And oftentimes those will get triggered, and my ears will just feel very sensitive, as if like I want to put earplugs on, or I want to cover them. Very sensitive to wind, almost as if they're cold inside. And that's how my body translates collective clearing and up leveling. So it's almost as if it's just super sensitive during those times when the collective frequency of the earth and humankind is up leveling. Again, that's just how my body translates it. So let's get down to some helpful hints. Like, what do I do? How do I help myself when traditional medicine may not help in that way? Okay, so here's some of my go-tos. These work for me. This is just through my own trial and error and trying everything and having to need the help myself. This is also through having a lot of clients going through this, or those that are also trying to strengthen their own psychic gifts and balance that within the body, because we have to have integration of our psychic gifts. It gets translated through the body as the body starts going through its own alignment with its light body integration. So all that being said, some of the things that really help me is if I channel. Okay, and by channeling, I mean not just saying it, but I need to get a pen and paper. And for me, my go-to is a pencil, like a lead-based pencil and paper. So I need to move that energy out of my ears. And this is when I feel like it's an energy that is not my own. And I've just learned what this energy feels like. It feels, to me, there is it almost feels like it comes in like an arrow. It comes in with a direction to it, a momentum to it. And that to me is like somebody wants to talk to me, okay? There's something wanting to communicate. And it's, as much as I do this for a living, but I do this for others. I'm not always doing it for myself. So that's, to me, these are my like ding, ding, ding. I need to sit down with my journal, with my paper, and I need to channel this out onto the page, okay? That helps drain that energy like nothing else for me, okay? Then when my body is trying to up level for the collective, meaning when I feel like my ears get really sensitive because there's a collective energy vibrationally up leveling, and we've been going through a lot of this lately, vibrationally aligning and creating new worlds and all of this as a humankind. So when I'm in those spaces and my ears feel particularly sensitive, or there's a ringing but it's almost everywhere, or like a deep headache associated with it, those types of pressure and activations in the ear, I will put my ears right on the ground. I will go outside and put my ear on the ground. Whichever ear is hurting, there's a sense of pain or a sense of pressure or a sense of like it needs to recalibrate now. I will put it as close as I can get it to the heart of Gaia, to her frequency, to regulate that sense of balance, okay? And I'll just lay there and I'll set the intention for that energy to drain out of me and to recalibrate with the earth. Okay, and I'll just do it. I'll just lay on the ground and stay there until I can feel that energy. It literally feels like it drains like a wax out of me on either side. And then another thing that I found that sounds kind of crazy is basically it's another grounding technique, grounding like crazy when these frequencies are all over the place. That connection with Mother Earth is so important because it harmonizes with our ground root frequency. So it kind of gives us, so it kind of gets back to our base, okay? And it allows us to kind of get back to that harmonizing feeling. And that is by putting stones in my ears. And so I'll get little black stones, which are associated with absorbing energy, not an amplifier, no quartz, nothing to amplify energy, but dark stones that are known for absorbing energy, the size of my ear, and I'll just put them in the ear with that intention to absorb any of that energy that's coming in. And this is if I'm in the car or something and I'm doing something that I can't get to the ground, or I can't move so easily. So I'll do that in terms of draining. Try those things, and I do believe that it really minimizes, or at least helps your body align faster with the frequencies that it's trying to translate in that inaudible energetic hertz that you're getting. By hertz, I mean like sound wave measurement of frequency, hertz, and then kilohertz or gigahertz. When you get into inaudible energies, those ultrasounds, it gets way up there, and a lot of times these high vibrational beings that are now interacting with us will have very, very high frequency tones. So these things are just helpful. I love you guys. We'll be in touch, and we'll be back here next Friday. Blessings.